KP's Video News. That's right, it's KP's Video News. And I'm back again, folks. This time with follow-up number 5 in the AHMAUD Arbery case. And so, the man who filmed the murder of AHMAUD Arbery, the unarmed Georgia jogger killed in February, was arrested Thursday and charged with felony murder and criminal attempt to commit false imprisonment. William Roddy Bryant, Jr., 50 years old, had maintained he was not involved in Arbery's death in the Satilla Shores neighborhood and merely recorded the now widely circulated video of Gregory and Travis McMichael chasing down and killing Arbery. He is the third person arrested more than 2 months after the slaying. We are going to make sure that we find justice in this case. We know that we have a broken family and a broken community down in Brunswick. Joyette Holmes, the prosecutor assigned to handle the case, said in a conference Friday, under Georgia law, a felony murder charge means that a death occurred during the commission of an underlying felony and doesn't require intent to kill. A murder conviction in Georgia carries a minimum sentence of life in prison, either with or without parole. Vic Reynolds, the director of Georgia Bureau of Investigation, said Friday that if law enforcement believed Brian was only a witness in the case, they wouldn't have arrested him. Attorneys representing Arbery's family had called for Brian to be arrested because he helped trap Arbery, who was fleeing the McMichaels. The other 2 men were arrested earlier this month and faced charges of murder and aggravated assault. Law enforcement in the area are facing heavy scrutiny for their handling of the case. A prosecutor recommended not bringing charges against the McMichaels in April before recusing himself from the case. Arbery was slain on February 23rd when the McMichaels, a white father and son, pursued Arbery after spotting him running in their neighborhood. Greg McMichael told police he suspected Arbery, who is black, was a burglar and that Arbery attacked his son before being shot. Brian lives in the same subdivision just outside the port city of Brunswick, and the video he took from the cab of his vehicle helped stir a national outcry when it leaked online on May 5th. The video quickly drew a strong reaction from the Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, a Republican who called it absolutely horrific. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation soon took over the case from local police, and the arrest of the McMichaels followed on May 7th. Attorneys for Arbery's parents cheered the news of Brian's arrest. We called for his arrest from the very beginning of this process, attorneys stated in a statement. His involvement in the murder of Mr. Arbery was obvious to us, to many around the country, and throughout through this investigation, it was clear to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation as well. Roddy Bryant is not now and has never been more than a witness. That's what his attorney said in a statement. And so now he's under arrest. He's under arrest. That's victim number 3. Well, not victim number 3. Suspect number 3. 1 victim, 3 suspects. 1 man jogging through a neighborhood, being pursued and chased by 2 vehicles. Boxed in, trapped. He ran around the vehicle, ran back the other direction. They hunted him down for 4 minutes. 4 minutes they hunted him down. He's on foot. They're in vehicles. The man was running for his life. He was being chased down by vehicles. And eventually he ended up getting murdered. Shot and murdered. And so it's a sad day. Sad day. You know, I feel extremely sorry for him and his family, man. It's just going through this hell that they have to go through. And if it hadn't been for the video, this whole thing would have been swept under the rug and never thought of again. And this time, let's see. This is update number 5, And I'm sure I'm going to come up with a whole lot more updates before this is over with. So just hang on. Now here's the update on another case I've been following, and that's the Breonna Taylor case of the EMT operator that was killed by cops in Louisville, Kentucky. So now the FBI is investigating the death of Breonna Taylor, killed by police in her Louisville home. Taylor, 26, was at home when her boyfriend with 3 plainclothes officers arrived to execute a search warrant in the drug case. The FBI is now investigating the death of Breonna Taylor, who was killed by police during a raid at her home in Louisville, Kentucky. And so it's happened she was at home with her boyfriend on March 13th when the 3 plainclothes officers from the Louisville Metro Police Department arrived to execute a search warrant in a drug case. The couple thought their home was being broken into. The FBI's Louisville branch announced Thursday that it was investigating the shooting after numerous media requests. The FBI will collect all facts and evidence and will ensure that the investigation is conducted in a fair, thorough, and impartial manner, the statement said. Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron previously said that he was asked to serve as a special prosecutor. Governor Andy Beshear called on Cameron last week to carefully review the results of the initial investigation to ensure justice is done at a time when many are concerned that justice is not blind. The public reports concerning the death of Breonna Taylor are troubling, he said in a statement. Louisville Metro Police Chief Steve Conrad announced his resignation after 8 years on the job amid the investigation into Taylor's death. And a judge had approved a no-knock search warrant, meaning police could enter the home without identifying themselves. Though the lawsuit filed by Taylor family alleges the police did not knock or identify themselves before entering the apartment, the police lieutenant Ted Edams said during a March 13th news conference that officers had knocked on the door several times and announced their presence as police who were there with the search warrant. After forcing their way in, they were immediately met by gunfire. Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, 27, had a license to carry and kept firearms in the home. Walker called 911 at the time of the raid, believing his home was being broken into, and grabbed his gun in self-defense, according to the family lawsuit. Walker, who shot an officer in the leg, was arrested and charged with assault and attempted murder on a police officer. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who also represented the family of AHMAUD Arbery in Georgia, was hired by the Taylor family. Crump called Taylor's death a senseless killing and condemned the police department for a lack of transparency. We stand with the family of this young woman in demanding answers from the Louisville Police Department, the attorney said in a statement last week. So the FBI is got in on the Breonna Taylor case down in Louisville, Kentucky, and that was the young woman that there's a ambulance, works in the ambulance, an EMT person that's putting her life on the line during this coronavirus, who ends up getting shot by the police in her home, and the person that they were looking for didn't even live at that house. So the whole thing was wrong. Everything they did was wrong that night. Okay, and this is I hate to end this way, but this story here was like, it's a 90-year-old black grandmother who pleads with the white cops not to shoot her grandson, and she's trying to protect the life of her grandson. And the incident occurred in Midland, Texas on May 16th after Ty Anders was stopped by the police over a minor traffic violation. Anders, 21 years old, allegedly drove through a stop sign and was ordered to stop by Midland police. Anders was reportedly told by his mother to always drive to a safe place when stopped by the police, decided to drive to his grandmother's house. Once he arrived at his grandmother's home, Anders faced cops who aimed their guns at him. In a video uploaded to Facebook, Anders is lying on the ground while at least 5 police officers point their guns at him. Several people can be heard in the background yelling at the police officers to lower their weapons because Anders was scared. In an attempt to defuse the situation, Anders' 90-year-old grandmother, who has yet to be identified by name, can be seen on the video walking over to Anders. The woman who has a walker pleaded for the cops not to shoot her grandson, who began crying. The police eventually moved in Anders' direction as his grandmother stepped in front of him, trying to protect him. One officer surrounded Anders and attempted to put handcuffs on him. They pushed his grandmother over, causing her to fall to the ground, and the video cut off at that point, but the grandmother reportedly had to receive medical treatment. Anders eventually was arrested and charged with felony evading arrest. The video of the incident has gone viral and furthered the online discussion of police brutality against black people. And it's a 90-year-old woman in a walker, and the cops are so dead set on it, you know, arresting this person for running a stop sign. And he went to his grandmother's house. You know, it's like, hey, he's a young kid, man. So it's like he did what his mother told him to do. He said, if any time the cops pull you over, go to a place that's safe, a well lit area or something on that level, and you know, hey, deal with it that way rather than being shot in the back in the dark. And he had witnesses around, and those witnesses being around just may have, and I say may have, saved his life. You know what time it is? I said, do you know what time it is? It's time for KP's Video News. Peace.